Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and how are you? How are you doing? It is November. I am in a design ink mood. I am using a Pilot. This is the G2 in 07. I've just been in an ink mood because I've been doing so much colored pencil, so I think I'm going to do some designs while we chat, catch up, check in, and figure out where we're going to go from here to the end of the year. Let me make sure I'm still on the page. Okay, so how are you? How are you doing? How is your art going? Have you been taking a break, or are you currently taking a break because October is a lot? I know October's a ton. Like, I am fully aware of what October is capable of. A lot of people tend to do Slowvember. You can see that. Okay. After an October challenge, it's where you work on one piece and spend a lot of time working on it and make sure that you're dedicating the proper amount of time and energy to something that's sort of a finalized, finished piece that you can then, you know, gift, sell, whatever, for prints, for whatever you're working on. I've just have never done Slowvember. I'm going to be doing a version of that next year. Let's talk about 2024. I mean, yeah, there's still a good like 50 days of 2023. You can get a lot done in 50 days. Break it down into 10 5-day chunks or 5 10-day chunks. Figure out how to break that down into smaller pieces so it's more manageable, and figure out what's left that you want to finish and work on for the end of the year, for whatever you have set for your goals, resolutions, things you wanted to accomplish and work on. Continue to break them down into smaller, manageable pieces that don't overwhelm. Write it out, list it out, put your goals, put your things in places. All that will help you. It's like trying to see the forest through the trees. You don't really know that you've done a quantity of work or genuinely made a huge chunk of progress until you look back and see the whole. So while you're in the middle doing the pieces parts, it feels like you may not be getting anywhere or going the places you want to go. And that can be sort of discouraging. Do not be discouraged. Please don't be discouraged. Wait till you're done and then look back on it. Again, you have a good 50 days. That gives you a few days to plan, to recalibrate, to realistically reconfigure your goals. If you're not meeting your goals, then there's something else going on. Maybe there's a lot going on in your home life, work life. Maybe the goals just aren't manageable. And sometimes we set lofty goals, and sometimes we set goals that are super boring. Sometimes they're too hard. There's so many things that can, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. Try not to think that way. That doesn't help anybody. But in the meantime, what will it take to get some of your smaller goals checked off and done? Maybe you can't do the bigger ones, but maybe the smaller ones are more realistic, and maybe that's what you should have stuck with. And then when you go to make goals next year, you can look and see, well, that wasn't attainable because life. So let's figure out what happens when life gets in the way this time, or this year, or have like a plan B, a plan C, however you choose to map out and graph out your goals and your plans and your checklists. There is time to get some things done still. Do not fret. Do not be hard on yourself. Being hard on yourself doesn't accomplish anything. It doesn't make you feel better. It doesn't make your goals more attainable. I don't know too many people where they're super hard on themselves and it makes them feel better enough to get more things done. Like, it just doesn't work that way. So please be gentle to yourself. Treat yourself like your best friend, because you are with you for life. Now, in terms of 2024, PSA over. Let's look at 2024. I had this idea for a book, and it hit me in 2018 when I was driving through some farmland. This idea for a book. It has nothing to do with farmland, though I did get a second idea that does, but that's neither here nor there. I have lists and books of lists of ideas of things I want to do and create and put forth into the world. My problem is always time. It's always time. Someday I'll have more time, and then I can work on the things that need to be worked on. But for now, I have to pick and choose how I delegate my time, and I really have to make concerted efforts. Like, my effort this year was to be in a sketchbook the entire year. And yeah, I'm in 2 instead of 1. So already that wasn't like 100% realistic, just because of the bleed and the ghosting can be really bad on some of my illustrations. And it's so distracting. I feel like it takes away from what I'm trying to do. Like, each illustration took hours of my time, so I should at least acknowledge that effort with its own page. Like, that's how I honor my work. But for 2024, I want to do a book. Now, I don't know how I'm going to do this book. I have no idea how I'm going to do it. I would say it's more for adults, like a picture book for adults. It's trying to explain really difficult concepts, mathematical, scientific concepts, with the assistance of illustrations. So the words would not be mine per se. I would have to cite, and like, the citing is going to be bad. Like, half the book is going to be citing the original works and who came up with these things and invented them, and because they're the real heroes of the story. They're the brilliant ones. But I don't know if I'm going to seek out an illustration agent. I have options. Like, I could do an illustration agent and try and figure out how to get a publisher and do it that way. I could self-publish on Amazon and do it that way. I have self-published before. I could do a Kickstarter if I thought it had legs and an audience that would be into this. It's pretty specific. Like, it's definitely super niche. It doesn't exist. It should exist. I would buy it. That's why I want to create it. It's something I would want to own. Or I could just print myself and sell on Etsy, and then I kind of become the seller and the shipper and all that. But I'm not really into being a shipper. Like, I'm not good at Etsy. I'm horrible at selling and promoting my stuff. And I don't even really want to promote it. I just want it to exist in the world. And that's what they say about art. Create the things you want to see. And this is something I really want to see. I'm curious as to how I'm going to go about doing this. So because it's a book, and right now I only have, because I've been sitting on this idea, I loosely have fleshed out like 10 pages. But the 10 could easily be 25 to try and cover some of this stuff, the subject matter. I know, it's so vague. It's not even helpful. I know, and I apologize. I hate when people are this vague. But I promise it's cool. I promise I think it's cool. Maybe that's a better promise to make. I'm just doing leaves. At this point, I have all those options, and I know those are available to me. I need to sit down and come up with at least, well, before you pitch to a publisher, I don't know if you've ever done that before. They like to see at least 3 pieces of your work and like the concept of what the book's about, and that's just like blind pitching. I don't really intend to blind pitch. I've done that before. It's okay. Odds are good if you blind pitch to a couple dozen places, you'll hear no's from 2, and then you'll hear nothing from the others. Like, they're just too busy to even tell you they're not interested, which is fine. It's not personal. It's just they have to go with what they can sell, and it's a business. So as long as you look at it that way, it won't hurt your feelings. And I've been told no a lot in my life, so it's okay. We're good. But I'm wondering if at this point getting an illustration agent and trying to figure out what that process looks like, and the cost and the time, and then have them pitch for me and do some of that legwork for me. I'm not sure what that entails. I've never done anything like that. I'm wondering if that is the best way to go about this, because I need this book to exist. So, is it for the greater good? No, it's not. I'm not being selfless. It's not I'm not trying to do something that's for the betterment of humanity. It's just there's some really interesting things that fascinate my mind. And I am such a visual learner that when I read these concepts, my brain goes, oh, it would be so great to see this visualized on a page. I want to see what this would look like. Like, my brain immediately puts picture to this. And I figured if mine does, and you guys are all, I mean, you're here, you lovely folks are here, because you're also visual and interested in visual things. Sometimes in this world, visual folks need visual things to look at to understand things. Like how you go to do directions can tell you if you're pretty visual. Like if somebody goes to give you directions somewhere and they're like, hang a left here, go right here, turn left here. Or do they write it down and show you the streets, and then they're like, at the big tree, you know the tree, hang a sharp right. That's like being auditory versus visual. Kinesthetic, like tactile learners, you know who you are. I'm very tactile. I've taken all those tests. I've had so many of those tests. In college for language, I took American Sign Language, ASL, because again, visual, and that is a great language to learn. Every country has their own sign language. There is a deaf community. Within your community, reach out, wave hi, get to know them. I don't do a lot of sign language anymore. I have a friend who is an interpreter. We do not get together nearly enough, but I love sign language. I love watching movies that have sign language in them. I love the inclusivity of it. I've watched sign language movies from multiple countries because their signs are so vastly different than ours in America and the United States. It's based off of French language. I don't know what to tell you. Visual folks. So yeah, so for 2024, boy, am I on a long tangent of my brain. 2024, I plan on working on this book and doing daily doodles. I like having something that I can sort of whip out, put on a camera, put on my Instagram. I got a planner. I picked it up already because it was already running low in like mid-October. They were almost sold out. So I purchased one. It's a small A6 planner. I haven't opened it up yet. I'll open it up January 1st on video with you. We can hang out together and talk about it. And it's just for doodles and notes and putting things together. Like it's just going to be kind of a brain dump and dirty sketching, sort of is how I call it. Like nothing polished, nothing finished. Just real fun little things I can throw up while I work on very polished illustrations for this book. And it's going to take me, I don't know that's the thing. I don't typically do like pieces that are so polished with detail, and some of these are going to be more like telling a story through time. Like, it's just going to be a thing. So that is my plan for 2024. So in amongst these polished pieces that are going to take me a while, because I'm going to have to dedicate some time to them, they need to look good, like real good. I'm going to have just anybody's sketches. Plus I have other sketchbooks still. I still am not buying any sketchbooks. I learned from my no-buy. I can be taught. So I have sketchbooks that I need to fill and finish, and if I'm in the mood for something, I can just bust one of those out and do sort of a palette cleanse from whatever I'm working on with something lighthearted, jovial, fun, or just do some little dirty sketches in my A6 that I'm going to have open and ready to go for fun. And it's Tomoe River paper. So, but it's the newest iteration of it. So again, I don't know. I haven't done any Neocolor 2s this year. I haven't done watercolor pencils this year. And I'd like to just play around with those and do some fun little weird things, maybe color studies, maybe composition sketches. Just really have a place where I can make a mess and be messy. So that's what that's going to be for. And that's going to be my planner as well. And it's going to be my accountability for throwing things up on my Instagram. So I'm still sort of working on other things a little bit, but I need to do this book, and I'm not sure how long it's going to take. I'm not sure if it's going to have legs and go anywhere. Like, I just don't know. I know the idea is good. I know the idea is sound, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. So 2024 is going to look weird. I'm going to be doing videos where I'm constantly in a different sketchbook. A lot of them will probably be discontinued because that's what I have left. Or I'll be working in a teeny tiny planner just for fun. Or I'll be working on like an actual professional illustration for a book. And you're going to be like, what in the world is she doing? No one knows. No one knows. I'm a special unit. So I'm excited for 2024. I was excited for 2023. I thought, you know what? I would love to spend a year in one sketchbook. It's neat, it's clean, it's organized. It'll be fun. I'll tell you something though. Like, if you're really curious, I was good with this paper June, July. June, July, I was like, you know what? I'm done with this paper. I have done all the things I've wanted to do on this paper. I have seen all the things I need to see. I know what I like. I know what works best. I know what I prefer. And then I still had 6 more months. At this point, I don't even think about the paper anymore. I don't even acknowledge it. It's just, I just grab it and we're just off and running. So at some point, my brain turned off that having different paper was an option. And it's no longer an option in my brain. It's been a really unique challenge. Do I ever need to do this challenge again? I don't think so. Like, I know I'm capable of doing it. Like, I know I can do a whole year with one type of paper in 2 sketchbooks and 2 Stology 365s. But I don't think I need to do anything else. Will I buy another one of these sketchbooks ever again? I know they make smaller, like half-year ones. Probably not. Probably not. Because when I was doing my no-buy, what do I want to do now? Oh gosh, I don't even know. Let's grab a different color. Let's grab some gold. When I was doing my no-buy, I realized that I need to have sketchbooks that I can watercolor in, because half my art supplies are wet media and the other half are dry media. So because I don't care for watercolor on this paper, it just doesn't blend correctly in my mind. It just blends different. That's like not a dig, and I'm not mad at it. It just, like, know the limitations of some of the supplies you have. Some supplies are better than others for certain mediums, and this one isn't my favorite for watercolor. You can watercolor in it. I have done it. I don't know, like, here's a watercolor. You can watercolor in it. Here's another watercolor. Like, it's a thing that can be done, and like, I can get real strange. But the blending and the shading and stuff is a little weird. I don't care for it. So, no, I probably won't buy this again. Would I recommend this paper to people? If you only work in dry media and need something thin, like if you're only doing colored pencil, like maybe the ghosting isn't so bad. Like if you're a colored pencil artist, you could probably get away with both sides, especially if you're like monochromatic and part of it's light. You could totally get away with it. But the second you go to add like ink or something, the ghosting gets real bad. So I was gonna do a fish, but my fish is super cut off. So I'll have to do multiple fishes. I can do different types of fish. When you have multiple fish, forget how it goes. What does that say? When you have fish that, multiple fish of different types of fish, then you have fishes. Something like that. Okay. Does that make sense? Dry media, this would be fine. For pastels, I did pastels in here, and I've done charcoal in here. There's no tooth to this paper. It's super, super thin. So when you go to spray and stuff, it definitely gets weird. Like, it gets super weird. It doesn't hold on. Some of my pastels are staining, so when I do the spray fixative, there is bleed through of the staining portion of the pastel. That's something else to be mindful of. Not for me. And then, you know, you might still may need to tape in like protector pieces. I don't know how hardy this spine is. Like, I only have maybe half a dozen pages taped in, and I think even less in this one than the other one. But like, this is turning into a paper review. I don't know what to tell you. It's unique. It's a very unique paper. I think it's very cool. I think if you're a writer or you work with pencil, like, you could probably take advantage of every single page, front and back. I think if you do ink, it'll last you half a year. You probably just want to do what I did. And watercolor, I don't know. Some people are totally fine with their watercolors crinkling on another watercolor. Like, there's, like, I'm fine with it with the Tomoe River because it's like coated on both sides. At least it was. I don't know about now, but with the paper like that, like, you get that crinkle and there's charm to it, you know. That's part of the thing with the paper, and it looks really cool with duotone, like inks and stuff, because it pulls those colors out. It has some really unique attributes with coated paper like that. It almost reminds me of like Yupo, that plastic paper. Anyway, there's also like a stone paper. I don't remember the name of that one. I don't really buy, I'm not into buying those papers anymore and trying weird things anymore, because I know what I like and what I use and what I love, and when I buy weird things, they sit on my shelf too long. They do. My Strathmore Tone Tan and Tone Gray like sat on my shelf for like 5 years before I was like, time to use these up, because they're the oldest. Not because I wanted to, they were just the oldest ones I had. So I know that for me, like, even though Tone Tan is absolutely gorgeous, or Hanamula's Cappuccino book is really a beautiful hardcover sketchbook with a really rich brown that isn't speckled like the Tone Tan is with Strathmore, their 400 series. I just don't use it enough. Like, I need white paper. Like, I want certain colors to shine and be bright and do the things I expect them to do. And with colored substrates, they really get muted or toned down. Like they look a little different, and I'm not into it, and I don't want it. So I start, like, as I've honed in on my preferences and what I just draw, like what I'm drawn to, pun intended, when it comes to sketchbooks and art supplies and stuff. Like as I get older, there's just less I want to buy and own. And I appreciate when companies try things. Like I appreciate Strathmore's tone blue, but I did not like it at all. It was even more limiting than I found the tone gray to be, because I'm not really interested in gray. I like brown. Brown's my favorite. So with that being said, if you are interested in super dry media, this might be a nice, fun sketchbook for you. Travel with it. Again, I don't know about the spine with taping a lot of stuff in. Some things just fall apart depending on, you know, how mixed media you are, and if you like your washi tapes and your stickers and your tape ins and all your little tickets and fun little photographs and things you add, then it can get kind of wild. So I don't know. I've seen some people's books where they do like full mixed media collages, and sometimes the spines can't keep up. But for 2024, that's my plan. I mean, I have 2025 planned out already too. I'm going back to doing a year of drawing challenges and using up every single old sketchbook I have. By 2025, I should have no old sketchbooks left. Like, that's the goal for 2025. 2024, I don't even need to buy paper. I have that huge roll that I purchased for this year that I've used for cards in one sketchbook. The Strathmore 500 series roll, the mixed media, that's 100% cotton. That is what I'm going to be using next year for my book stuff, because I want cotton. I want to incorporate watercolor elements. I really like watercolor, and I just haven't done very much this year, so it's kind of a bummer that it doesn't perform very well in this paper. I just don't care. It's what's best is what's preference for you. So maybe you've used Stology and you don't think watercolor on here is like a big deal to you. Like for what you use it for, or for how you watercolor, like it's all good. For me, no. It's not my favorite. So we live and we learn, and we adjust accordingly. So that's all I'm doing, is adjusting accordingly. But I really like how smooth ink is on this paper. I like ink on this paper better than I like colored pencil, even though I just came off a month of doing nothing but colored pencil. Ink is so smooth, and it's nice on the nibs, and I don't know. It looks good. The white's a good white. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you go to draw on a paper and it skews a color. Render to me skews cool. Like it skews almost blue. Render paper. That's what you use Copic on, or Sharpie if you like to draw with Sharpie without bleed through. And then you get to things like Midori and some Tomoe River, and it's really warm. Like it's almost cream colored. Some paper's warm, some paper's cool. This one feels pretty neutral, like right in the middle white. Does that make sense? Makes sense to me. Anyway, so that's my 2024 plans. Working on a book, and again, I don't know how long that's going to take. That could take, God, I can't imagine that only taking 3 months. Best case scenario, 3 months. That's so not realistic. Worst case scenario, which I wouldn't call it a worst case scenario, I would just call it a longer, like, learning time, would be a year. So it could take me all next year to work on and finish the book. Again, I'm not using my words. I am not brilliant like that. But they will be my illustrations, and I have to figure out how to cite this if I can. And maybe some of those people don't want folks talking about their stuff. I can't imagine why not, but I'll have to figure out how to do that. There's so many things I need to figure out. So I'm gonna need spaces and places to map stuff, to list stuff, to organize stuff. Not just like a timeline, but what I'm drawing, when I'm drawing it, to keep me on track, to make sure I'm hitting my goals. Time management. So when you're your own boss, you have to be kind of stern with yourself and have really clear objectives of things you want to meet and reach, things to look forward to. And I find that for myself, like, the more I plan and write things out, the better I feel about it, because I feel like I'm more organized, I'm thinking about it, I'm fleshing it out. Boy, this looks even weirder, doesn't it? Does it even look like a fish? Let's do a smaller one. Anyway, I don't know how this is going to go. It just depends on if I can get an illustration agent. That's the thing. I may not even be able to get one. I may have the money for it and the time for it and all the things, and then it still may not be a thing I can attain. So I'm trying to remain realistic, optimistic. Sorry, I have tons of stuff on my desk. Welcome to my life. I mean, I'm excited. I'm super excited. I love doing new things and trying new things every year. It gives me like a huge, it's enough of an excitement to last me the whole year, pretty much, when I work on something new that I've never done before. That whole thing really gets me going, that I'm trying something new and I'm challenging myself. But just know, like in my videos, if you want to hear about what some of this process is of trying to publish a book, of, you know, successes, of failures, of yeses and nos, I am more than happy to pull back the curtain and tell you I don't mind. Like, we can celebrate and pity party together, so to speak. I mean, I can go through all of this and do a whole thing and think it's amazing and put a year's worth of time into it, and nobody could still want it. You know what I'm saying? Like, no publisher could be interested and no agent can be interested. And then it's just something where I print like a small lot and then just go, okay, well, if you want one of a thing I spent a year on, like, I'll sign it and you can have a copy of it and think I'm a special unit like the publishers did. I'm all right with that. I'm okay with that. I've been doing this now for a little bit, and it took a while to see the progress made, the day-to-day progress, and how that adds up and what that looks like at the end of the year. And I know if you're just starting out, it's really hard to see that. It's like learning an instrument, learning a language, having a fitness goal, whether it's lose weight, gain weight, muscle, whatever that long-term goal is. It's not right away, Nick. It's hard to tell you're making the progress until you start looking back at longer spans of time. So, when I look back, you know, the beginning of the year, oh, did I just kill this pen? Please don't say I killed this pen. Please say I have more of this pen. Oh, we're okay. When I look back, I try and look and see the progress. And I can see it. I can see it while I'm actually doing it because I've been doing this for a while. That's what I'm saying. So, don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged for me. Life is a learning process, and we are just going to hang on and go for a ride. So, if you're interested in just hanging out in 2024, if you're interested in the publishing process, or just watching someone else go through it and and vicariously living through me, I'm here for that as well. Like, that's fun. Vicariously living through people is fun. Because, you know, no harm. So, and I'll be transparent about it all. Like, I don't mind. I'm not prideful. So if I fall on my face, I'm going to let you know. Like, hey, fun story. I fell on my face. But I hope not. I hope many things for 2024. I hope many things for your 2024. I think it's going to be a great year. I just do. I'd also like to... I was looking at equipment. Here's the deal, you folks. And I always say guys, and I apologize for always saying guys. Here's the deal, folks. I was looking at the type of equipment and things you need to go live so we can draw live together, because I thought that would be so much fun. But in doing a low buy, I'm never going to have the budget for that stuff. I'm never going to be able to afford to buy all the things to go live, because I'm trying to stick to a low buy budget, and I consider YouTube part of my art stuff because I art on the YouTube. So I don't know how to go live. I don't know how to do it on a budget unless I can pilfer or trade or barter with someone. Like, I find a YouTuber that's getting rid of old equipment and then ask them if they need some illustrations of things and do a trade. That would be a way that I could get the equipment, and I'm not opposed. I mean, you just heard my 2024 plans, so having tons of free time to do a bunch of commissions is gonna be, that's gonna be a trick and a quarter, but I'm willing to try it if you are. I don't know if I can find that scenario. If I can, then I will try and get equipment so we can go live and hang out and be groovy and do drawing sessions together. Would be a ton of fun. Even if it's just like little pencil doodle sketches that aren't, you know, aren't polished things. Just hanging out and sketching some of our favorite things to talk about and look at. I'm here for that too. But again, it would have to be a perfect storm of somebody getting rid of this equipment, because I don't have it in my low buy budget. I don't. And I don't know if I ever will. And I apologize for that. I think folks that go live and do fun things like that are awesome. I think it's a great way to spend a Friday night for folks that don't go out. We don't go out. We might have used to. I don't know. We have a lot of kids. So that's just not a thing we really do a lot of. So we're homebodies. So it'd be fun to do that. I just don't, realistically, I don't know. I mean, that would be like a YouTube goal of mine, would be to figure out how to go live and hang out with you and draw with you and answer questions or just chit chat. Like, it's just nice drawing with other people. I mean, keep in mind, I am at my desk and I am talking to a camera, and I've been talking to a camera for like half an hour. So I'm chatty. I have things to say, and having other people with things to say spur me on more. So it would be fun. I just don't know how to do it. So, and I'm not doing a GoFundMe. That's silly. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just trying to stick to a low buy and be a good example. Like, there's a way to have a YouTube channel on a budget, not break the bank, and then still upload and be consistent and be helpful. That's my goal. That's it. Help. Motivate, inspire, and help. It's a lot of fish. Can we see that those are fish? They kind of look like fish. This illustration is going to be a wild one. That's all right. We need a couple wild ones in amongst all the controlled situation of all those birds. Those birds are way too controlled and specific. So we need some wildness in here. Anyway, those are my plans for 2024. Do a book. Have a place where I can doodle daily, just to hang out and post something daily, because I may not have some things to post some days. Some days maybe fact finding and composition layout and things. And I have no problem showing you like composition layout, what I like, what I don't like, what works, what doesn't work, subject matter, ideas, things like that. But they don't always make for like a decent daily sketch. So I have a ridiculous planner. I broke down and bought a ridiculous one. And that will be my daily fun little sketch thing. Just for hanging out and putting supplies on the page and stress relief. Because doing books can be a little bit of a stressor. If you've never done a book before, there is some stress associated with it and pressure. So it's nice to have a place where you can sort of release some of that in a healthy way that's creative. All right, that's it for now. I have no idea what I'm going to post as my thumbnail. Yeah, so let me know what your 2024 plans are. Are you going to hang out? Are you going to stop by? Like, it's going to be a wild one. It's going to be a weird one. It's going to be totally different than this year, which is exciting. We got to keep it fresh every year. So I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.